Okay, first for public comment, we have Heidi Matthews.
Already, kind of riding the struggle bus this morning. Good morning. My name is Heidi Matthews. I am a teacher serving as the president of the Utah Education Association, and recently sent you a letter regarding a decision you're going to be making today with the use of the RISE test data. And we asked for three specific things. One is that you asked to seek flexibility from the appropriate statutory areas that you need to with regards to accountability requirement using this data. Secondly, to ensure that no student, teacher, or school is harmed by flawed data. And thirdly, and I'm going to read this because I think this is the most important, to ask you to lead out on shifting the focus to assessment for meaningful academic improvement and supporting initiatives that generate sustainable school improvement through comprehensive metrics. So I'm a teacher, and we invented tests. We love tests because they tell us what our students are learning, and they inform our instruction, and so that we're able in the moment in our classrooms to be able to make the necessary adjustments for their learning. But tests are not designed to be a tool for blame and shame or punishment. My youngest daughter, when she was in high school, it was kind of that first round of the SAGE tests where they took the writing portion in February, remember, ahead of all the others. And she's a kid of teachers, and she came home that day, and I'm like, how'd the test go? And she's like, oh yeah, it was great. And I said, so, what was the prompt? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it, so I wrote about something else. She is a fabulous writer. And in that moment, I thought of two things. I love this girl and her spirit. And secondly, she is not reliable. And I think that we see this quite a bit in our schools, that tests like the RISE test, they are not designed to be used to assess the individual. They're designed to be looking at a macro level of where we can not blame and shame and punish our students and our schools, but where we need to replicate exemplary practices, and when we have critical needs in our schools, where we can give them additional supports and resources so that they can be successful. So today you have an opportunity to really change that narrative and to recognize the rare opportunity that this trouble with the RISE test data that happened last spring has really opened a door to shift that narrative to beginning to look at assessment for the real reason that it's designed, and that's to help our students and to support our schools, not blame and shame and punish and label, but to lift them up. So thank you very much for your attention to this important matter today. Have a great one.
Okay. Thank you, Heidi. Next, we'll have Jackie Ball.
Hello. Hi. So thank you for hearing me out every time I appear here. Just to introduce myself to the maybe newer board members, I am an inadvertent community activist. My son went through Schools for the Deaf several years ago. He's 7. He was born with hearing loss, which progressively became worse, and now he has a cochlear implant, and through the miracle of cochlear implant, he can hear. And those who've interacted with him can see that he speaks and hears like any normal child. He's in a mainstream classroom in our neighborhood school in the Cannon School District. And so I really appreciate the opportunity as issues come up that maybe concern the hard of hearing community, that you are always here to listen. So thank you very much. Schools for the Deaf is just one of many school districts you oversee. And I feel like it's been getting a lot of attention lately. But I thank you for paying attention to the issues that we have raised and taking steps to maybe help with some of those issues. I'm here today as a follow-up to USDB's request last board meeting to restore cochlear implant mapping for students. And I believe after I heard about that, I reached out to a few audiologists and community activists who raised some serious concerns with that request. I know that Schools for the Deaf is going to their legal counsel to see if that is something they're authorized to do under IDEA. I spoke to Donna Sorkin, head of the American Cochlear Implant Alliance. She told me she was present for some of the, when they reviewed IDEA a few years ago, and they specifically decided to exclude cochlear implant mapping as a required service under IDEA. And part of the issue for that is concerns with continuity of care. So I'm going to speak from my experience, and then they have emailed their letters to you, but I've brought hard copies as well, so you can read their different concerns they have with that request by USDB to restore cochlear implant mapping. So my son has a cochlear implant. It's a very technical piece of machinery. It's very small, but very technical. If there's an issue with that, the manufacturer usually covers it for a period of, I don't know, it's like 10 years. I mean, it's a really long time. So if there were an issue with the cochlear implant and programming got lost, I don't know how that would happen. It's never happened to us. But let's say it broke. You can contact the manufacturer directly, and they overnight a new implant already programmed. That's our experience with cochlear. There's 3 main providers of cochlear implant machinery. So that's our experience with that. That bears out with what the audiologists have written to you. If for some reason it's not under warranty, the audiologist still needs to request permission from insurance to have that actually covered. And so there's steps that USCB would have to go through, the same steps, insurance, and then they'd have to get the programming from the hospital. And so the concerns that Katie at Primary Children's Hospital, who has also written to you, raised, another audiologist, is she said that it's just an extra step in the process. They have to go through the same steps anyway. So I am going to pass out these letters for you. They summarize it much better than I can, but I just wanted to be a voice for these people who are not able to be here today, who did raise concerns with that request. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, if you'll pass
Yeah.
them to,
Yeah.
and then we'll circulate.
Pass them, or do you want to put them on the table?
Let's put them on the table. Thank you. Next, we'll have Ashley Anderson.
Hi, my name's Ashley Anderson, and I'm a parent of 2 children in the Salt Lake City School District. I'm also a dance educator who's worked for 10 years in Salt Lake, Granite Canyons, and Jordan school districts, among others. And I teach arts integration courses for multiple higher education institutions. I'm here today to ask you to lead the way for the state legislature to eliminate school grading policies in the 2020 session. Once again, Representative Marie Paulson plans to run a bill to eliminate the letter grade schools receive based upon standardized testing. In the past, this policy change has been supported by parents like me, teachers, and education entities, including the USBE. It would also not impact compliance with federal guidelines. While Paulson's bill has sailed through the House in past sessions, it continues to fail in the Senate due to the political pride of legislators whose purported legacies are linked to the policy. But the time for individual pride in education policy is over. With flaws in RISE testing data this year, it's a critical time to eliminate the school grade, which has been proven nationwide to penalize schools and increase parent skepticism without changing the benefits provided to teachers from using raw data to drive their instruction. As a teacher, using assessments can drive the way I instruct the fine arts core, and it can help my collaborating classroom teachers identify the other core subjects I should integrate to boost optimally student competencies. But as a parent, this testing data communicates little to me other than the average family income or property value in a school neighborhood. If nothing else, until opt-out rates have changed or their inclusion in the data changes, giving a grade from testing to parents is disingenuous. It's proven to further stratify enrollment and widen the achievement gap. This makes ongoing requests for sustainable education funding out of reach. Legislators are already largely skeptical of what Utah schools can achieve, as the current tax reform debate proves. Encouraging the legislature to make a positive change that would allow teachers to improve instruction, boost parent and community confidence, and fall in step with the accountability models of other states would be a great option. Please plan to support Representative Paulson's policy change in the 2020 session and advocate for this change specifically with Utah Senate. I'm one of probably 6 parents from 5 districts who's come to make this same request over the last year, and we hope you consider it, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. This concludes our public comment.